We're talking specifically about athletes who are entering into their freshman year. And I want you to always think about this as in the summer leading up to their freshman year and then throughout their freshman year. Okay. So, first and foremost, if your athlete is graduating eighth grade, heading into ninth grade, this is for you. So we're starting as high school freshmen coming up in the fall. So there's some things that we want to be working on in this process as we maneuver into that specific grad or grade. Okay. So first and foremost, your athletes should probably still be playing 14U at this time. They are in the summer, they should be playing their 14U team, but probably second years and really starting to navigate the process of what it means to now become a high school student. So the goal when you get to high school after your summer is to make varsity. So regardless of what town you're in, where you're from, the competition level, um, our aim is always to shoot for the highest competition when it comes to high school, because there's so much disparity between that usually in travel ball. And even if you play on a really good high school team, I still believe that there's disparity between junior varsity and varsity. So first and foremost, we are always shooting for that varsity spot. Excuse me. My notes are over here. So let's just get into it for the summer. Okay. Let's talk about the summer leading up to it first. So this would be a really great time. Your team is probably starting to get exposed to more national tournaments. You're in a situation most likely where you are maybe experiencing things like PGF tournaments and alliance tournaments that have teams from nationally known. So once we get to that part, we're just basically, again, just building up our competitive muscles, our competitive genes and strengths, and then really understanding again where we fall in this current moment as far as like the teams that we're facing, right? So this is a really key, crucial part in our athlete's journey, again, to just navigate where we are and where we want to be. Okay, so every time that you're, I would say, under 2028 grads, or sorry, sophomore grads, we want to be in that sort of evaluation assessment. Where am I at? Where do I want to be mode? Okay. So now that we get into the fall, my goal would be for you to, I'd say, be playing second year 14 still, or sort of setting yourself up to be ready for 16U. Now, I'd be okay with you still doing 14U in the fall. I think that's still a good place to be. But what I want to do now is I want to encourage you that as you are playing in these tournaments and traveling, that you would also try your best to at least visit schools along the way. All right. So if you are heading to Colorado, for instance, there's nothing in the fall in Colorado, but if you were, then you would want to see what schools are around that area. And I'm not asking you to do visits, but on your own, just kind of do some self tours to kind of get an understanding or feel of like, man, this is a really big campus. This is a really small campus. This is a great size campus. It looks pretty active, things like that. If you're able to also experience maybe some of the festivities that happen in that time frame, that'd be a really great place to do that. And if, as always, if there is a camp for a school, especially the larger Division I schools, I would say in this freshman year is a great time to sort of get your feet wet as far as like not as much as an evaluation that we did in eighth grade, but in ninth grade, more of like, do coaches see me as an athlete that could play at this level? So now we're kind of shifting our perspective around what we are looking for in that camp environment. So I do want you to find the opportunities to, again, go visit some of those higher level Division I schools at this time to really get a feel of, am I getting feedback from coaches that gives me the impression that I might be someone that they would be looking for their program. Okay. So you're going to be doing that. I would also say that what should be happening at this time is we now want to start to create, once we start visiting these schools and we start to pinpoint some of those higher level camps, we want to create our top 50 schools list. So what we're doing here is now starting to target schools, right? And it's interesting because we're not going to go to 50 schools, but we want to start to create sort of a structure for how we now specifically get smaller in the schools that we choose. So we want to start big and broad with our top 50 lists. And then over the next year and a half, we're going to start to dwindle that down all the way down to 10, so that we can start to really target the schools that we're interested in, right? So you'll start to create that list. My advice would be to um, kind of categorize these. And if you're my program, I have a specific way to categorize these things. But for everybody else, I would say you want to pick schools that are really, really high reach for you. So like, Power Four schools. You would probably want to pick like five of those. You then want to move down into more of those. Um, Not quite there yet, but reachable schools. So reach schools. And then we want to think about sort of our reachable schools. And then we want to start thinking about sort of our safety sort of schools, right? And then our sort of backup plan schools. So in that list, you want to have 50 total, and you'll break it up into those kind of categories. Once you have that in that list, you want to have the school name. I would put where the is located. I would put the head coach's name, at least one assistant coach's names, and their email. So we're creating a contact list for the schools that we are targeting, so that we have an understanding, or we have a visual and also a place where we can track those schools. Okay. So once we have those together, I also want us to, if it's possible, either through watching their games on TV, following their teams during their seasons and social media. So now we're in high school. Now we're in the high school season, but in the high school season, I want you to be paying attention to those schools that you are interested in, their social medias, right? If you can watch them on TV, do so. If you can go to a game, do so. But in this moment, I want you to I want you to watch sort of how the coaches are coaching those athletes. I want you to see sort of how the functioning of that team is. I want you to pay attention to, do the athletes feel like or seem like they are having a good time in this space? Do they feel like they're stressed about being here? Do the coaches seem like they're having a good time? We really kind of want to start to evaluate the coaching styles, the culture of the program, and is it a place where I think I could thrive, or if maybe I need to adjust my top 50 list and remove that school from the team or from my list. So this is kind of what you want to do next. All right. From a personal development phase as a freshman, you should be wanting to either get very stronger or faster, right? And there's a combination of both for most athletes. But if you are a power hitter, you do want to be able to move and have flexibility. But more than that, we want you to have strength, right? So you might do less of sort of speed and agility, but more of strength and conditioning, to kind of get your body on the right track, right? Of course, doing some mobility is still also very good because we want you to be able to move just in case and get around the bases if you don't hit a home run. But if you are more of like a speedy athlete, you want to definitely get into some speed and agility training. Okay, you want to get into then also some strength training, but more on a body weight strength training sort of program, sort of keeping maintenance, and just building up the ligaments and things like that around the key areas of your body, like your knees, your ankles, your shoulders, right? Your back, your core, your groin area. So you want to start to develop those. So I would say in that process, definitely be building that up in your freshman year. Okay. I would say your freshman year, you should really be locking into the skill, especially around offense, that is your strength. So if I am a slapper with speed, what am I doing to get extremely comfortable in that in different environments? And so I love the fact that you're going to play 14U in the summer, go right into high school, play varsity, and then go right into the summer, hopefully moving up to 16U, because it's going to give you so many different dynamics of pitching styles and competitiveness to really hone in on your skills. So I would love for you to use this entire year to get extremely comfortable in your hitting and offense abilities. Okay. So that would be something that you want to work on there. So whatever that means for you, whether that's getting lessons, whether that's spending more time with your travel ball coaches, whoever your coaches are, you want to get extremely comfortable in this phase of your journey. So now facing maybe slower pitching in high school or off-speed pitching, right, to facing 14U pitching, and then now moving up and athletes are getting stronger and taller, have more movement. So in the 16U phase, now I'm getting really comfortable being an elite level athlete in that first year of high school. What I also want you to do in this phase, I think this is a really tough transition for athletes because again, we're going from middle school to high school. We're having some expectations about high school ball. Our schedules are getting a little bit more hectic, right? Around our one particular sport, maybe two or three that you play in that school. You might also play other sports. So then that plays into it as well, right? Higher demands of school and academics. Then you have travel ball on top of that, right? And then you're really entering into that sort of evaluation phase, or exposure phase of recruiting. And so there's a really big shift from the athletes who are right here, right now, and the ones who move forward to be elite in their mental game and their mindset. So I would suggest just off top to also invest in some sort of mental training that provides athletes with tools to help them overcome pressure and anxiety and stress, as well as just the demands of the games, the expectations of the games, the expectations of our family, right? The expectations of our school and our GPA and our teachers and our coaches and our players and our friends, all the things. We want to make sure that we are giving our athletes all the tools that they need to be successful in this moment. Okay. After that, I would say we definitely want to be building up our social media. I believe that there is a significant jump from that summer leading up to high school, and the next summer for most athletes. And so we want to be able to capture that growth on social media. So what we're doing in 14U, what we're doing in high school, and then how we're translating that into the summer is a really great sort of thing to be able to see and document and capture. So I think at this time also is a great time to really start building up your social media, getting all the things posted from the clips from, again, your workouts to what the games you're playing in, right, to your high school games, all the things. I think this is a great time. This is also a good time to start building up sort of your sport accolades, but also your life accolades. So community services and maybe other letters that you're getting from other sports, right? Really starting off strong academically is also very important here. This is the foundation that sets the tone for the rest of your 4 years. So I think also making sure that you have everything you need as far as academics goes is really important. Um, I would suggest also eventually, I would say more towards the end of the school year, to start now developing that YouTube channel where we can have multiple places for coaches to come watch you play. You now have experience in the high school level at the highest level, most likely. So we want to start to use that film to showcase again our transition from 14U moving up to high school, right? And I also would suggest, this is not necessarily a thing you have to have, but I think it's also good to do a skills video around the end of that high school season, that kind of just has a quick detail on all of the skills that you have. So, what's your hitting, what's your defensive positioning, and just showcasing your skills in that. I think it's a really good time to have a intro highlight video at this point. So, I think start to build those things up. And then I would say right around the time that you're getting ready to start summer will be a great time to start implementing the email sequence. So you want to, in about May, you want to start to send out what your schedule is for the summer, right? And you want to send out those emails to coaches, letting them know this is what my schedule is going to be, right? And then I would say 2 weeks out or a month out, excuse me, from 2 weeks out from the actual tournament, you want to send another email that says, "Hey, I'll be at this camp," and then also leading up to when you get the schedule, sending out one more email. So really start to ramp up the emails. I would say after your freshman year, like basically at the end of your freshman year, heading into the summer. That's when we'll start ramping up those emails. Now, what I want you to understand is based on what I kind of gave you in the beginning, the summer before freshman year, 14U, freshman year, hopefully we're making varsity. At the end of that freshman year, considering moving up to 16U, that's where the emails are significant more than if you decide to say 14U one more time. So if you're deciding to stay 14U one more time, then emails are not necessary, which also probably means that you don't have the elite level skills yet that coaches want to see. So go ahead and stay down, but there's no need to email coaches that early, right? But you can still build up everything else that we've talked about up until that point. So that would be sort of my advice for those athletes in their freshman year. Whatever you do, make sure you like and subscribe to this channel if you're interested in what I'm sharing. If you have more questions, feel free to send me a direct message on Instagram at 360_athlete. I will answer your questions in a future video. You can also place the comments below and I will see them and respond to you as well. But either way, make sure you like and subscribe. And if you want to, hit the notification button as well so that way, when I post more videos, you will see them first. All right. Have a great day. Make sure you tune in if you have an athlete that's not a freshman, because another video is coming next. All right, y'all. Peace.